Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. Today is Monday, August 5th, 2013. I'm Darko, and I'm ready to go here. We'll cover the economy and some other stuff. U.S. jobless figures dropped to lowest rate in 4 years, over 160,000 new jobs created as unemployment rate drops to 7.4%. And the reason I'm covering this, because I covered it, August 2nd, Friday, was I mentioned how Obamacare, even though it's not even enacted yet and they delayed it, employers are already planning for it, and they're changing their labor structure. So they're hiring part-time workers, and they're just basically reducing the workers' hours that they have currently from full-time to part-time, and hiring other workers to compensate for that, so they don't have to pay them for the Obamacare, the benefits in that. So this is going to make unemployment look better, right? It's going to make it go down. So Obamacare full frontal of 953,000 jobs, almost a million, created in 2013. 77% of them are part-time. 40% of U.S. workers make less than what a full-time minimum wage worker made in 1968, when the minimum wage was $1.60 an hour. That sounds very small, but if you account for inflation, a very different picture emerges. Using the calculator, $1.60 in 1968 is equivalent to $10.74 today, and of course the official government inflation numbers have been heavily manipulated to make inflation look much lower than it actually is. So the number for today should actually be higher than $10.74, but for the purposes of the article, we'll use that number. So if you were to work a full-time job at that $10.74 an hour for a full year with 2 weeks off for vacation, you'd make about $21,480 per year. It wasn't a lot of money, but according to the Social Security Administration, 40% of all workers make less than $20,000 a year in America today. So that means that more than 40% of all U.S. workers actually make less than what a full-time minimum wage worker made back in 1968. So these low-paying part-time jobs have been declining over the past decade, even as the cost of living has gone up. Between 2002 and 2012, median wages dropped by at least 5%, and 5 of the top 10 low-wage jobs, including food preparers and housekeepers. So I said, where the jobs gone? It says there's three trends that are absolutely crushing the American worker. Of course, the first one is globalization. You're not just competing against other people in your country. You're competing against other workers in other countries. So secondly, they're robo-sourcing, so replacing expensive workers with machines, computers, and robots. Fortunately, the jobs that are being lost to technology are not coming back anytime soon. Thirdly, the overall U.S. economy has been steadily declining for more than a decade. Baby boomers have been hit the hardest by a Great Recession. A new study shows that middle-aged Californians privately suspect they are the first to lose their jobs and the health benefits that come with the jobs when hard times hit. Whether because mid-career workers are viewed as too expensive or because there is a deeper bias against older workers. Some numbers that I was kind of throwing around in my head yesterday about, because you hear people talking about depopulation, massive depopulation. Well, one of the good things about keeping all of us around, even though they talk about stuff like that, about massive depopulation, you hear that in alternative media a lot. The reason we're still around, it's not because a conspiracy isn't true. There is a conspiracy, and you see the eugenics taking place, and you'll see it take place. If you're, like me, I'm 32, I'll be 33 this year, and I'll probably see it. I know I'll see it as long as I keep kicking for another 30 years. I'll see it in my lifetime, a massive reduction in population. So, as far as the baby boomers go, you have to think, the last ones were born in 1965, so if they live to be about between 60 and 80 years old, we're talking about 2025. That's about 10 years from now, 12 years from now, to basically 2045. You're going to see these people are going to be gone. So you're going to see a massive demographic change in the United States, and it's not just going to be a large drop for the white population, but also I believe the black population as well, as far as a percentage. I think we're going to see an influx of, most people think, well, Mexicans, Hispanics. No, I don't think as much as that. They're already there, yeah, but I think you're going to see a massive influx of Middle Eastern immigrants coming from places that we've bombed the hell out of, and taking their resources. So from Saudi Arabia, from Syria, Libya, or basically North Africa, Arabia, you're going to see a large influx of Middle Easterns and surprisingly a large basically influx of Asians, I believe. I don't know, but we'll see. So that would actually make the percentages about a quarter white, a quarter black, or not even a quarter black. I'd say a quarter white, maybe 10% black, if that. Maybe it'll probably less. And then, of course, you have a good chunk, almost a quarter being Hispanic, then a quarter basically Middle Eastern and Asian. So, and what's interesting is that post-baby boomers, although baby boomers, I don't really think they did much to prevent any of this change, but after the baby boomers are gone, all those generations after, Generation X, millennials, they really don't identify as being anything as far as being white or Hispanic or anything. So, or even American for that matter. So they're going to allow this to happen. In fact, marrying someone of your own race would probably be considered politically incorrect, downright racist. Also, two things that you have to take into consideration. These people right here, these baby boomers, they're spending a lot of their savings, whatever they have left after this usury system of bankers stole a good chunk of their savings. Usually, people's investments and their savings are in their homes, which is pretty risky. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And so they lost a lot of their wealth, took a huge hits, especially the baby boomers. And so whatever savings they have left now, they're going to be spending it on trying to live, right, on healthcare costs to live until 70, 80 years old, because the eugenics is just harsh. It's really popping up, and these people are going to have to fork over all of their savings, whatever they have in Social Security, to be able to keep living. So people say, oh yeah, you see the things about we're living longer, but we're living more unhealthy. So the thing is once people can't afford that, all the medical care, then they're going to start dying younger. You'll see the decline in the average lifespan. These Generation Xers and after the baby boomers, they don't have the ability, they don't have the means to even have children anymore, and many of them don't really want to. So it's and they're promoting different alternative lifestyles and stuff like that. So we're going to see a huge change. I know, at least in my lifetime. Here in the United States, it won't even look the same. And of course, the last thing point I want to make is, after they have, Asians, Middle Easterns, all these different people here, they probably will break it up again, and then they'll import people from Africa, actually Africans in South America and the United States. They'll constantly change it. They'll never let people establish roots here or anywhere. Record number, 21 million young adults living with their parents. So a new study from Pew finds that 36% of millennials, young adults ages 18 to 31, are living at their parents' homes, the highest number in 4 decades. A record 21 million of young adults were still living in the home past year because they said they have a job they can't afford to pay rent and pay back their loans at the same time, said college students. Again, they call it a recession. It was a depression. I don't think we ever really left the quote recession. Number rose from 32% at the beginning of the Great Depression in 2007 and 34% in 2009. 2011 riots repetition, only a matter of time, says writer. This is in Britain. They warned a fresh wave of inevitable rioting, street fighting, and looting by angry youth due to huge unemployment and government welfare cuts. But that does not justify going and stealing, big plasma screen TVs. I mean, you see this people out there, it's disgusting. But it's like I said, just wait till the monetary system collapses, and it won't collapse because it's inefficient, because it's not adhering to the laws of the of economic theory. It's because they'll allow it to collapse. And what will they get? They'll get people cutting each other's throats. So all these people that are civilized, smiling and honking their horns and watering their grass, everything's hunky dory. Once the monetary system is systematically brought to its knees on purpose, you'll see people acting very uncivilized. And of course, they'll blame that on anarchy and lack of order, and not because, they're all of a sudden free for the first time. See, before they thought they were free, now they're actually free, and they don't know how to act. It'll be the justification for creating another form of enslavement known as government. According to the report, sanctions imposed by the West are having a greater effect than ever on the economy and increasing the pressure reaching an agreement with the West. So Iran's economy shows signs of impending bankruptcy moments before the swearing in of the new president, Rouhani. Next up, Russian migration services want networks of deportation facilities. Russia's Federal Immigration Service says it wants to create a network of 83 detention facilities for foreigners awaiting deportation. It says this is just days after it set up a tent camp for hundreds of labor migrants detained in Moscow last week. So Hawaii's homeless to be sent back to U.S. mainland. I'm just covering this because I just covered that right there. So the growing number of homeless people living in Hawaii's sun-kissed beaches is starting to concern locals who are considering offering them tickets back to the U.S. mainland. But, some people say, that's bad. That's mean. You can't do that. And then you have U.S. flying deportees deep into Mexico over a dangerous border. This is from July 11th. Mexico president vows to secure southern border. So it vowed to bring order to its southern border where drug cartels and migrants can cross with police interference. Well, that's basically what he's talking about, is not letting certain drug cartels push guns or drugs through there unless it's a certain drug cartel that basically is part of the government. So Mexican migrants aren't deterred by border fences, so even if you do all that. The Senate passed an immigration bill in June that would devote $46 billion to border fencing, drones, and agents. The report found that Mexican migrants crossing illegally are more likely to consider things like a job market in Mexico and perceived danger of crossing when deciding to enter the U.S., and they're less concerned with getting caught or punished. Mexican drug cartels increasingly hiring U.S. military servicemen as assassins. This is what we covered already. Thought I'd just throw it in there, though. Boston bomber had literature about white supremacy and gun rights. So the older of the two brothers who allegedly bombed the Boston Marathon earlier this year had right-wing extremist literature, including information about gun rights and white supremacy. So I think this is complete bullshit. This is where I thought it was going to go originally. It was either going to go that way or it was going to go towards Russia. We got to go towards Russia. But they are actually playing it both. So they're playing it this way, and also you see the big bad Russia with Snowden standoff, which I'm a little skeptical about that, and the whole thing, and now the Olympics with the gay propaganda thing. So you're seeing a lot of the old Cold War type stuff going on. He had articles in his possession that asserted the government was behind both terrorist attacks of September 11th and the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. Well, I know one thing. It had to do with Jews and Zionists. That's what it had to do. It wasn't just an inside government job. That was attacked by Zionists and Israel. This does make sense, whether it's a bunch of bullshit or not. Because originally they said, there were white guys that were responsible for the terrorist attack at Boston bombing, the white guys. So they were also into Islam, so I don't know, you go figure. This is from Land Destroyer. This is back in 2012. The global Blitzkrieg West terror battalions eye Russia next. Reuters lays groundwork for Western support of al-Qaeda terrorists in Russia's Caucasus region. And this is where I thought they were going to go as far as Russia and Chechnya, because that's what they said they were. Russia's bin Laden, this Umarov-led terrorist death squads in Chechnya during the 90s up until 2011, until the UN finally listed him as an al-Qaeda affiliated terrorist. What we're talking about is U.S., Saudi Arabia, teaching and basically radicalizing madrasas. This Utah contestant charged with making and throwing homemade bombs. Kind of an odd story. So I guess they were just doing it for prank. They were trying to find a motive. Well, this is what people do for fun. Help make explosive devices and throwing them at houses and residents in Salt Lake City suburb. They bought household chemicals, aluminum foil, and plastic bottles to make the devices. And like someone said, never mind the fact that Obama authorizes drone strikes and kills women and children, especially, they target them, but they kill innocent men, there's farmers and stuff like that, and no one cares, no one says anything. And a bunch of liberals from that, down the comment board, and that's rawstory.com, a bunch of white people with white guilt saying, white people can never do that. And of course I saw comments about right-wing extremists coming out of Utah, so. Petition to serve Bradley Manning's jail time has hundreds of signers in hours. So the campaign was created. Thousands would openly volunteer to serve part of Bradley Manning's sentence of 136 years. Deputy accused of pepper spraying teen's pizza faces charges on Monday. Sheriff's deputy who allegedly pepper sprayed a teenager's pizza during a routine traffic stop in South Orange County will be in court on Monday to face criminal charges. So he spotted the pizza in the back seat of the car and sprayed it without the youth's knowledge. After the teen went home, him and a group of friends later became sick after eating the tainted pizza. So I'm going to leave off with this article right here. and return in part 3. So please join me in part 3. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.